Hello and welcome to this album with me, William Han. Normally, it's the podcast where each episode a guest and I deep dive an album of their choice, but this is not a normal episode. This is a Glastonbury special, and I am in the company of a return guest, Mr. Harry Hainstock from 22 Grand Pod. Hello, Harry.
You all right, man?
Pretty good, thank you, Harry. I'm of good health, I'm of sane mind, and we are back in the Cumberland Hotel.
Yeah. Back with the ghosts.
Back with the ghost. Yeah, that was pretty funny, wasn't it? Should we bring that up?
Yeah. I didn't tell you about this, did I? No. So, like, on the recording last time, I was listening back to it and I could hear people mumbling in the background. And I don't remember anyone being here. So I said to Will, like, what's that about? And he's like, oh, it's just really old building and that ghost and stuff. And I was with my mate at the time, Markham, and I was like...
And he's replied back pretty well, no way, that's mad. I said, Harry, I'm joking. It's a hotel. We've got the place to ourselves. There are people outside the room we're in. We're not in a soundproof studio here. It's so yeah, sorry about that, Harry. It's a bit mean of me, that.
No, it's all right.
But it was funny. It was funny, and that always takes precedent, I think.
Yeah, good anecdote, to be fair.
But welcome back, Harry. What brings you to London today, mate?
Going to see the Voids tonight. So
always on brand, 22 Grand Pod, aren't you? Always on brand.
I mean, I don't get to that many gigs, to be fair, but... my mate Adam, who's here.
Hello, Adam.
For the listeners.
At the back, without microphones. You want to say hello quickly, Adam? Get in there.
Hello, how's it going?
Very well, Adam.
AKA Willow, for anyone that knows him.
For the heads.
Yeah, for the heads.
For the Adam heads. What's your relationship with the Voids like?
Yeah, I've been to see them a few times. Last tour they did full UK tour, like more of a conventional tour. Went to see them twice on that in the end. Saw him in Elephant and Castle. What's the venue there?
Coronet?
Yeah.
2014,
I think saw him there. And then before that, just saw Julian solo 2009, I think.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Well, that's actually quite a good segue. So I've seen the Voids once in Paris at Pitchfork Festival for my stag do. Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Right.
And I've seen Julian solo once at Glastonbury Festival.
Oh, yeah.
So he clashed with LCD Sound System, who were playing one of their last ever shows. You know the kind. And I said, there's no way I can miss LCD. There's no way. One of the last ever shows. I've got to go. As I was walking from my tent up at the Park stage, walking down to the other stage, I had this change of heart. And I said, I can't miss Julian. I've got to watch Julian. And it was a decision well spent, actually, it turned out, because he played I think about 6 Stroke songs.
Yeah. And
he finished on I Wish It Was Christmas Today. That's time well spent, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
So he played it at that Glastonbury. He didn't play when I saw him, which was in December.
He's a tough guy, isn't he? He's a pernickety little fucker, Julian.
The people definitely shouting for it as well.
Sure. I bet, especially in fucking December.
Yeah, at one point he said, not tonight, princess. It might have been in response to that request.
That's funny. Well, look, we're here today. I'm a man of opportunity, right? You're here in London. I'm here as well at the hotel today recording other episodes of the podcast. We'll press record, we'll do something. And I figured what we'd do, we'd keep this on brand. This won't come out till a bit later, but it's currently, is it March? Yeah, early March, isn't it, right now? Saturday. The Glastonbury lineup has been with us for 3 days. You don't know if you posted the other day about Glastonbury 2005, and I thought this could be a perfect opportunity to keep things on brand with 22 Grand Pod. We'll do a little bit of a deep dive into Glastonbury's 2025 lineup and compare it to Glastonbury's 2005 lineup.
Yeah.
Sound like a bit of fun to you?
Might be a bit biased, but yeah, we'll give it a go.
Let's find out. So let's have a look. We've got it in front of us right here. Should we just dive into the headlines a bit first? Let's go. So Friday, we got the band called the 1975. Maybe you've heard of them.
Are you having them?
Big time.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I've had to defend him to someone else just now as well. Shout out to Ben.
No, not really, to be fair.
So look, this is the thing. So they're not for our age group, right? So I'm 39 in a couple of months' time. You're about the same age, guys?
Yeah, just like them, yeah.
Yeah, you look it, handsome boy. So they're not for us, you know what I mean? They are for people slightly younger than us, and that's fine. I think they're class, and I think people underestimate this band an awful lot because Matty is a man that divides opinion. I think he's handsome, cool, and has a good haircut. Everything you want in a front man. And I don't know, I think they're class. I mean, defend them all day. I think they've more than earned their place headlining the festival. They have grafted for a very long time. Sure, they're posh kids and Nepo babies and all the rest of it, but they have worked fucking hard as well. They played to no one for like a decade before they got anywhere.
Yeah.
And they've headlined Reading twice. I saw them headline Finchley Park a couple of years back. They are good at what they do, these big outdoor shows. They've done arena tours for about the best part of a decade as well now. They are good at what they do, and they will be a good headliner, whether they're your cup of tea or not.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see it because I don't really know. Like you said, I'm not like massively a fan of Healy, but
And I get it. You know, I'm not going to tell them you have to be or you should be, but I think they're class, and they're a band that have absolutely earned their place on that stage. Speaking of earning their place on that stage, is a bit of a legend in 70s rock and roll, Neil Young. So keen to hear, boys, what are your thoughts and relationships with Neil Young?
don't know an awful lot about him. I know he gets bigged up by people like Ricky Gervais, weirdly. I know I like the odd song I've heard, but
how many of his songs can you name?
You think it'd be more of like the Sunday afternoon legend slot?
It would have made a lot more sense. I can tell you now, we're just saying off mic, it's going to be fucking dead for him. It really is. He played in 2009, you know, normal headliner back then. It made a bit more sense. A bit of an icon coming back from the fucking dead or whatever. He's done nothing since. That's what? How's your maths? In what, nearly 20 years ago now? What year is it today?
2009 run about.
16, thank God, Joey Adam. He's done nothing of any sort of cultural worth since then. Glastonbury crowds have only gotten younger. He's not had a breakthrough hit or an album, has he? You know what I mean? I'm not being like that is true. He's not had any sort of big cultural impact since then.
I need to work with Timbaland or something, doesn't he?
That's what he needs to do if he was in 2003.
I know. I was thinking, what producer can I think of? Like,
even Mark Ronson would have been improving. Fucking hell, honestly. But yeah, I think the Glastonbury crowds have only gotten younger since then. I mean, even as us, men of nearly 40, we're barely aware of his work. What chance has them 25-year-old got? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that'd be dead.
Fair
Then on Sunday, we have Olivia Rodrigo. Know much about her?
No, I was actually listening to TalkSport the other day when Alan Brazil was like, he couldn't believe that Rod Stewart was below this person he'd never heard of.
Well, here's the thing. Glastonbury doesn't work like normal festivals.
No,
it's not a case of the biggest act has to be at the top. Obviously, Rod Stewart's a bigger thing than Olivia Rodrigo. But
she's big now, though, isn't she?
On mic, please, Adam.
She's big now, so it's like, you know, back in the day, maybe Rod Stewart, but yeah, what are the people gonna go and see now?
Well, this is it, and it's not just about the Alan Brazils of the world. You know what I mean? It's for 19-year-old kids should go to Glastonbury and see the stuff that means a lot to them. Yeah. And Olivia Rodrigo, even if she's not on your radar or whatever, she is class. She's very talented. She didn't want to be a pop star. She was a songwriter originally. That's what she wanted to do.
Right.
And accidentally wrote brilliant songs that she sang really well. And that's how she ended up doing what she did.
Isn't that what happened? Was that Sia that happened with her as well?
I think you're right there, yeah. I don't know much about Sia, but I think that's correct.
Olivia Rodrigo, she Disney.
Exactly, ex-Disney girl.
Yeah, she's mates with like Jake Paul and that.
Is she? Jake Paul or J Paul?
Jake Paul.
Oh, okay, a bit less interesting. but she, her second album was quality. Like she's really good at what she does, I think. So even if you're not a little pop girly, she is a very talented girl. Is she headliner worthy? I think it would have made a bit more sense to have her second to last, is my opinion. I was saying to someone else just now, a lot of people that should have been headlining, I'm not saying I desperately want to see them, but like Sam Fender, Fred again, these are acts that I think it was their time to headline. But
yeah, Fender would have made sense.
Made sense, I think. But
I'm not particularly into him.
No, me neither. But I think it makes sense for 25-year-old, 28-year-old kid, whatever. Yeah, it means a lot more to them than it does to us because we are now old men.
Is he playing it? Obviously,
not yet. So this is the thing. But it's probably by the time this comes out, it'll be a lot closer to the festival. Additional names get added, and of course, huge festival headliner worthy bands will often play secret sets there.
Right.
So,
are you going, brother?
What do you think?
Wow.
Be my 11th one.
Fair play.
Yeah, it's not often I miss a Glastonbury. I've missed a couple over the years, but not many. So that's the headliners. Should we take a look at 2005's headliners?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Buckle up. Here we go.
It's probably worth saying that me and Adam have never been to Glastonbury, so...
Perfect guests. But to make it a bit more on brand for you, we're looking at 2005, which is very much the era that Harry's podcast focuses on. So before we get too much into the things lower down, let's have a look at the headliners here. Friday is a band called the White Stripes. Heard of them?
Yeah, I was mad into them. I think by this album, I was starting to lose it a bit though.
So what album would this have been? This Elephant or
Get Behind Me Satan?
Right.
Started to get a bit weird. I personally don't think Jack White's done anything that good since Elephant. I liked like first songs from.
Well, to start with that, I don't think anyone has really. It's like it's a bit unfair, I think, when like that is just such a seismic album to say, "Oh, he's not done anything as good since."
No,
then.
I don't mean
no one has. It's such a good album, you know.
I suppose I mean like he hasn't done anything that interesting. I don't think
his latest album that came out last year.
People go mad for it.
Is Class actually? No Name. You heard that?
No, probably needs to get that blast.
Honestly, pucker album that. Saturday, an upcoming band. What are they called? Coldplay, yeah.
It's like the fifth girl by this point or something.
I think it's 25th, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, what's your relationship with Coldplay?
I don't hate them.
No.
I think that the last headline slot they did was quite impressive, really.
It was class, actually.
It's similar to what you're saying about Olivia Rodrigo. It's like there's an audience for it, innit? Like, let them enjoy it.
This might surprise you. There's an audience for Coldplay out there, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I've got nothing against them.
No.
Period as well was probably before they got a bit silly.
I think that's a very good observation, yeah.
Pre-Viva La Vida in it, this one, is it?
I think it would have been, yeah. This is like Fix You era, right?
Yeah.
Was that 04 or 05? Yeah, it probably came out on 04. It's probably the end of the sort of album cycle maybe for it. I think this is definitely like Fix You era, which is probably their worst album. But, you know, Fix You is obviously quite a good song if you want to be in a field of your mates, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, those light up wristbands they had going.
Pretty good. Pretty sick. I was there for that one. It was a wicked show, in honesty, this year. It was class. And then Sunday, Kylie Minogue was, of course, scheduled to play, but due to health reasons, had to pull out and was replaced by Basement Jaxx. Slightly more left field choice, in honesty, given the sort of domination of sort of guitar stuff, for the most part, in Glastonbury's lineup. What do you make of Basement Jaxx?
I mean, good on a night out if you've had a few drinks. But
couldn't agree more. They're a lot of fun. And yeah, I think they're great in all honesty, but like it's not something I sort of gravitate towards too much nowadays, or even back then really. But they are a good, fun band and yeah, good at what they do. Is that fair? Am I being fair,
yeah,
Harry?
I mean, obviously they're not natural headliners, are they? But I don't know really. Hard to gauge without actually seeing any of it.
Well, either way, it happened. I mean, so you look at this, you think which bands have had a legacy since then? So obviously Coldplay have had quite the legacy since then. White Stripes, I don't know, if White Stripes had to reform today, do you think they'd get asked back to headline Glastonbury?
They wouldn't be far off, would they?
No.
I don't think.
No.
It'd be a massive deal.
It'd be a massive deal. I'm thinking more second or third from the last. Maybe headlining the other stage probably makes a bit more sense than like headlining the Pyramid. What do you think? I don't know.
Don't know, yeah. I suppose maybe Glastonbury don't want to put on a band that are not releasing new music. Would that be a thing? As a headliner, I mean.
Neil Young has infamously released groundbreaking new music in the last 10 years.
Is he still releasing music though?
If I'm not mistaken, he does his own thing now where it's not available on traditional streaming platforms.
That was a Joe Rogan thing, wasn't it?
Is that what it is?
He took it off because of Joe Rogan spreading misinformation about COVID, but then I think he went back to it when he realised. That's
the only place he'll listen to music nowadays. Yeah, I don't know much about fucking Neil Young. But yeah, and then Basement Jaxx, I mean, I think they're back of the lineup this year, aren't they? And they're not headlining, you know what I mean? So
okay.
The right booking for the right time, but I'd say their legacy hasn't carried on. What I found really interesting looking at the rest of the lineup for 2005 though, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, particularly you, Harry, but there's a lot of guitar bands in 2005, mostly white dudes, and some good ones, some less good ones, particularly when we look at the other stage. Holy fuck, can we look at Friday at the other stage in 2005? So one thing we've not mentioned yet, that this is like the wettest Glastonbury of all time.
Were you there for this?
So get this, right? I wasn't there. I didn't go till 2008 of the first Glastonbury, but I was like, the FOMO was going through the roof. And I remember that day, the day of the Friday, I was at home listening to Radio 1, and Chris Moyle was doing his normal radio show, and he was in the cut to Joe Wiley at like 10 a.m. or whatever it was. And they're plugging it all day. Oh, Joe Wiley's got Kaiser Chiefs in, he's got Baby Shambles in, and someone else in. He's interviewing bands at Glastonbury, live from Glastonbury. And at 10 o'clock, Chris Moyles has gone, right, we're going through the Joe Wiley now, but apparently there's been a bit of an incident at Glastonbury, a bit of a storm. And Joe, are you there? Hi, Chris. Yep. And then it's coming down, and everything's gone, and it just she cut off. And then Chris Moyles has gone, okay, shall I just sort of stay on the air? And he basically stayed on there for like another hour or two, sort of joking about racking in loads of overtime here. It was quite funny. But I was quite looking forward to hearing, Kaiser Chiefs and Baby Shambles on the radio. It didn't happen. And it was like a shit show. The footage from it is just unbelievable. Literally rivers of It's just mad. So as we can see at the bottom here, the Dead 60s scheduled to open the other stage, cancelled due to flooding. Second is a band called Black Buds. Are you familiar with them at all, guys? No, it doesn't ring a bell at all, that one. Also cancelled due to flooding. Then up next, we got a man who, if I'm not mistaken, has been in your podcast, Harry, right?
Yeah.
Who's this? Who are we looking at?
Tom Veck.
So, thoughts and feelings on Tom Veck in 2005?
Yeah, yes. I think he's like one of the most like nostalgic things you can listen to now. Some of those old Tom Veck songs.
Aged well, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Kind of takes you back to sixth form. Would you agree, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, particularly, personally don't know too much about him, to be fair, so.
Yeah, I didn't know he was British until I started researching him for the pod.
Sure.
I think maybe like the OC links and that.
Yeah. Well, the OC were big on the British bands, weren't they, really? For the most part.
To be fair, they were.
Yeah. So why don't you read us a few more of the names on that lineup, please, Harry, on the Friday?
I mean, I don't think I've heard of the Black Velvets.
No, same here. I'm not familiar with them.
Have you heard of them?
No.
Keep going up.
Editors. One of those bands that are all right. Never got mad into them.
No, I think that's about fair for me. They're good at what they do. I think they're just a bit too sort of...
Like, this was probably their peak, wasn't it, around this period? Yeah. I think they've kind of like petered out a little bit since, haven't they? Yeah,
that's probably them at the most interesting, I'd say, 2005. They had that... Because even the next album was that song Smokers in the Hospital Ward or something.
Corridors or something?
Yeah. By that point, even any kind of edges had been sort of sanded down, I think. And they were sort of going for that mass appeal thing, which they probably didn't quite pull off. But yeah, keep going. This lineup gets pretty interesting pretty quickly.
Yeah, trying to think how many guests I've had on from here. Hot Heat.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, flex some muscles here, Harry. Go on, what you got?
Yeah, Steve Bears, big fan of the pod. I think he's my most... he has got the record for the most hours on the pod, I think. Nearly 6 hours over 2 episodes.
Did he? I'm trying to think. The guy from The Rapture as well. Was that your podcast or someone
else's?
That
was a long one. That was, I had a nightmare with the sound on that, but that was a long one, yeah.
And keep going. Who else we got here?
The others.
Former guests on 22 Grand Pods.
Yeah, I think Dominic was quite happy about the others performing on the other stage. That seemed to tick his boxes.
That's that high on the lineup as well. I mean, that is...
Yeah.
That is substantial.
Then Baby Shambles, I mean... That's pretty like legendary, I guess, for this scene. That performance. That performance is iconic, isn't it?
Yeah. It is just magnificent. From the outfit with his flies undone, that hat. My wife a couple of years back, she was at a work thing in the summer, and I'm trying to think it's like a festival Glastonbury themed or something, and she went as Kate Moss from that Glastonbury outfit. So like an empty packet of fag, disposable camera, gold dress, pair of wellies. And I was like, I've married the right woman here, haven't I? This is perfect.
Well, I've recently bought, the T-shirt he's wearing in the
pictures of Kate Moss. I am a baby. I am a shambles.
Yeah, I bought that off eBay.
Class.
Not so long ago. But yeah, it's weird because I was looking through the images on Getty Images, and they played another set that I didn't know about somewhere.
This rings a bell. Like I said, I wasn't there, but I remember there's the interview they do with Edith Bowman and Colin Murray.
Yeah.
And I think they mentioned that they're doing another show somewhere later on. You mentioned it, yeah. Because obviously there's always some nonsense to get up to at 2 a.m. at Glastonbury. A lot of bands do play twice. Yeah. You wouldn't put your money on Baby Shambles showing up to the second show, though, would you? Who's on after them, Harry?
Yeah, Block Party.
Fuck me.
Just 3 out of 4 on the pod so far.
Doing well here. Fingers Numbers are looking good.
But yeah, I mean, great time to see them. Definitely.
Yeah, I've watched that performance back a few times, in all honesty. Dare I say it, peak Block Party, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Were you big... I mean, you'll learn like a lot of these bands because you were big MTV2 head at the time, weren't
you? Yeah, I think first album, Block Party, was, their best, really. I think they expanded their sound after that, but maybe just didn't feel as raw. I feel like here was them at the best, probably.
Well, I think it's almost like you're saying about, as I was saying about the White Stripes thing. They've not made a better album since then. But no one now, Silent Alarm, it doesn't really get much better than that, does it? Like, it's impossible to maintain that level of quality. I think they've developed quite well and still sounded like themselves without sort of trying too hard to get too weird. Is that fair, Harry? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, you're like, you got the knowledge on Block Party, haven't you?
I like them.
I think it's interesting, like the band's view on it. Like, I don't know if they were that. Some of them, like Gordon and Matt, maybe felt left out of where Kelly took it. But
sure.
I agree. I think some great songs. I think I was listening to because Kelly's playing solo these days.
Yeah, I've not heard his no solo stuff though. Is any good?
Well, I was listening to like his old like Tenderoni, is it?
Yeah, Tenderini's a banger. That's
Yeah,
wicked.
it's a
Yeah, that
banger,
first
'cause
solo album's great. Yeah.
He doesn't play that anymore, apparently. I was like,
No, it's all a different thing now, isn't it? Yeah.
But anyway, it's a bit of a sidetrack. But yeah, I'd love to. They played in Hull at this point, and I don't think I went Block Party, and that's one of those gigs where I'm like, why didn't I go to that?
When they first came out in sort of like that indie scene, they seemed a bit more technical. I felt that there was something sort of extra they were offering.
Well, there was a few things, like it was sonically very different.
Yeah.
And there's no getting away from the fact there was a black man headlining, like fronting an indie band.
Yeah.
I was saying to someone just earlier, like, a black man in that pink Fred Perry t-shirt in the Little Thoughts video. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was fucking class. Like it was.
So B-side, wasn't it? Was it that?
Well, it was just an EP, wasn't it? It wasn't on the album.
Right.
But that was my introduction to Block Party.
Yeah.
And this image was like, fuck, black guys can do this as well. This is amazing. You know what I mean? It was what a band. Fucking, I could talk about it all day in all honesty. But we have a job in hand. So up next, something a bit less on brand, I'd say. Roy Scott and Fatboy Slim. But we can move on to Saturday on the other stage. Plenty to discuss here, Harry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say Roy Scott, So Easy. That's love that song.
What's it called?
So Easy, the one that was on the it's on a mobile phone advert.
Yeah. Doo-doo. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Anyway.
I listened back to that. I think they're a pretty decent singles band. I think, aren't they, Roy Scott?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what they're about, but yeah.
Who does? Who cares? Saturday, other stage. Harry, talk to us. What are we looking at?
Wow, I mean, not heard of.
Fucking stacked.
At least the first four bands not heard of. Have you heard of any of them?
Katie Turnstile.
Well, yeah, I mean the first four, but.
But no, same. Dead Beats, Engineers, Modi Lemon, The Stand. Oh, maybe The Stands I've heard of. I can't pretend to know much about them.
They've got like landfill of
Right, yeah.
Well, I don't know though. Could be
Pre-landfill.
It's like AI indie. That
Yeah.
is the name,
Yeah.
Like that band The Stripes that came out. Do you remember them?
They were class, man. They were fun. Yeah.
It's just a mad name, but
They weren't indie. They were like a 60s band, weren't they?
yeah.
Yeah, they were class band. Talk us to it, Harry. Who else are we looking at here?
Tunstall Athlete. Never got mad into Athlete. They're
Yeah,
a bit like
shit, yeah.
bit like
tame.
Star Sailor, aren't they?
Yeah.
Some good songs, but Star Sailor.
But who cares? You know what I mean?
A little bit. Yeah, I'd never go see him. Put it.
Nah, same.
Futureheads, yeah, great band to see at that time.
I remember watching the performance on the telly as well. It was quality. It was really good.
Yeah, I did see him that year actually at One Big Weekend in Sunderland. Saw a few of these bands. Saw Editors there, I think. And Tom Vec maybe. But yeah, there's like a lot of audience participation with the Futureheads.
Should we try and reenact it in this room?
Oof. Got the energy. I'm not sure Corona Zero's getting me there.
Yeah, fair enough. Echo and the Bunnymen.
Yeah, bit of a curveball.
Yeah, it's very indie heavy, this like, or 05 indie heavy. And Echo and the Bunnymen sort of late 80s, I guess, early 90s.
Yeah. Hey, early 90s maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so this would be like even like a more of a legacy act here, thrown in the middle of that lineup.
Yeah.
It was still going on. I supported Noel Gallagher at Alexandra Palace this summer.
All right.
Still doing it.
Yeah, fair play. Yeah, some brilliant songs, yeah. Are they Scouse?
Very Scouse.
I think my boy's grandparents got a story about knocking around with them.
Get him on the podcast, Harry.
Yeah.
Get him on the podcast.
When I get short of episodes.
And who was after Echo and the Bunnymen?
Yeah, I mean, got to be one of the best bands to see that weekend in Paul. I think they played One Big Weekend again. Don't know why I keep name dropping that, but
Big weekend for you, apparently.
But yeah, I mean, brilliant. I think it was the Carlos D era, wasn't it?
Very much so at this point still, yeah. Was it
Was
still first album at 05? Was that Antics? There must be Antics by this point. No, this must be album 2 at this point at least. Yeah, it's album 2. So by that point, a very established band, pretty strong set list, I think. Get a pretty tight 50, 60 minutes out of them at this point, wouldn't you?
Yeah, best of the first 2 albums, blimey.
Fucking, we'll have that, wouldn't we? We'll have that.
That'd be pretty ideal, yeah.
We'll take that. And Kasabian, so the footage of this is pretty wild, actually. I can't say I'm too familiar with the Interpol footage, but the Kasabian footage here, there's like a massive lake formed at the back of like the field, really.
Right.
It's just absolute horror show. Just absolutely awful scenes, man. Like, there's just no fun to be. I remember my mate Georgie was there that year, and she came back saying, the problem is, right, obviously it's wet and everything's fucked, because I work everywhere, but you can't sit down. There is nowhere to sit down.
Right, yeah.
And obviously she's like, early 20s at that point. Imagine us. Nearly 40.
Yeah, that's what puts me off going. It's like if I get bad weather, I want to go home. But
would you not stick around for the Saturday headliners in 2005, Harry?
Back then,
would you have found the strength in the legs?
I will say about Kasabian briefly. I think it was a great time to see it. They're like one of these bands that people mock sometimes. I think
They've become a bit of a punch bag, I think, haven't they, for the trendies?
Just
but
like thrown in with like a lad band vibe, but
they've got a lot more about them than that.
Yeah, I think at this point it'd been good to see live, definitely.
I remember listening to the Oasis podcast after Liam Gallagher done Nebworth, and his guest, I don't know who the geezer was, the guest was saying like, it's probably one of the first big shows Kasabian had done without Tom, and he's going like, oh, it's just not the same without Tom, it's not the same without Tom.
Who was saying that?
The guest on the Oasis podcast. And it's like, mate, everyone here is off their fucking tits. Do you think anyone gives a shit about Tom not being on stage when the choruses are this big? Everyone is having a blast. And he's there with his arms struggling. Oh, wasn't the same without Tom. Like, honestly.
It's a weird setup though, and it's like...
It's a bit less weird than you'd think it'd be when you're there. When you're in the room or you're in the field...
I appreciate that. I just mean the actual like dynamic or thought process of carrying on without him. I mean, I get it, but it's like... Well,
there's plan A and there's plan B, isn't there? Plan B is not doing that. So it's like... Yeah. It's gone a lot better than I would have expected, actually, Kasabian, 2.0. I think, I think they've done a fucking good job of it, in all honesty.
They've got what's his name from the music, haven't they?
That's right, that's right.
So that's a different vibe, different element.
So obviously, Tom, obviously, very good front man. I was, I was unsure what would happen Kasabian 2.0, but Serge is obviously about as good as a front man as it gets, isn't he? So
he's like running around with a radio mic these days, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the radio mic side of things, honestly. I think it's a bit naff, but
in a tracksuit.
It's either that or a man that beats up women. So I know what I'd rather take. So yeah.
I was going to say, do you think they'll do an Oasis? But I think that's answered my question. Yeah.
Well, I don't need them to. In all honesty, I'll be just fine without that. But there you go. Saturday headliners.
Razorlight. I mean, I saw them the year before at Leeds Festival, and I was like quite impressed. I was quite enjoying them, but I think already by this point they were getting annoying. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, not personally huge on them, to be honest, but got to give credit where credit's due. Some of the early songs are very catchy, aren't they?
I was going to say, because I was interested, I'd sort of held back a little bit here. I was interested to sort of compare the whole sort of your opinion on Johnny Borrell and Matty Healy here, and seeing which way this is going to go, and seeing if annoying frontman can impact your enjoyment of the band, Harry. And Adam, both of you, really. I'm curious to get your opinions on this.
A little bit, but I think the music kind of speaks for itself. I think first album is undeniably got like...
It is relentless. Yeah, it is so good. On it. There's about 5 songs which you think are the end of the album, and it keeps on going to another song which sounds like the last song on the album. It's very good. It's very good, the Razorlight album.
Yeah.
I would argue he's probably a bit less annoying at this point. I would say, you know what? It's funny. I didn't see Razorlight live until 2007. Saw them at Reading. And for whatever reason, the vibe was a bit off in that field that day, I think, just where I was anyway. And then the year after, they done V Festival 08, and they were on before the Killers. Huge slot, big festival back then. And it felt like almost overnight, everyone just said, fuck Razorlight. Just fuck Razorlight. Done with it.
They were probably one of the casualties of like New Rave coming in.
Do you know what? It's a very good observation, Harry, and that is why you are on the Indie podcast, isn't it? Yeah.
I've said these opinions quite a few times, though. So.
It almost seemed like a bit parody to you. Do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, like with like the white outfits and that.
Yeah, it's almost like, are they being serious? Yeah. Which is sometimes there's a place for that. There's a place for like, adding a bit of humour or whatever to add to the enjoyment of it.
I don't think he was adding humour through choice though. That was an accidental thing.
Well, apparently his mad quotes were deliberate, allegedly. He thought he'd just go into an NME interview one day and say he was better than Bob Dylan. It's like,
that's all right. I think it's quite funny. I think that's all right.
Motorbike.
Yeah, that was a bit silly.
What was that?
He looked just a bit of a dickhead, didn't he? Really?
He rode a motorbike when he's going out with
Kirsten Dunst.
Respect for that.
Yeah, I'm really jealous of him. I very much was in love with her.
Tell her a house or something.
I think it was South by Southwest Festival or Coachella or something.
Oh, was it a festival?
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I could be wrong, but
riding the wave kind of thing at the time, isn't it? Just sort of.
Look, the man is full of drugs and alcohol. He's making silly choices and wearing silly outfits. Is that not what he wanted our rock stars in 2005?
I don't mind. Yeah, I went through his quotes for a video, and like, I don't mind his ambition. It's like people loved Oasis for that. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But like the non-serious thing, I do think that's a factor. Like them and Kaiser Chiefs, I think it's kind of a similar experience. I kind of quite liked them at first, but quite quickly they became a non-serious band for whatever reason.
I think that's it. Yeah. What you're getting out of it is limited ultimately, and it's just.
Yeah, it's like something's pandering about them. So I don't know. It's just like a Radio 1 audience or something.
I think it's a good observation. Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at Sunday, shall we? Day 3, other stage. I mean, let's start at the bottom here. There's a lot of bands here that again, Yeah, not many I'm familiar with here, Harry. Talk us through it. Who we got?
Red Hand Band. I think the fact you can tell the bands that don't have a career because they don't even have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, we would probably say we're looking at the Wikipedia entry here. There's a lot of bands that aren't in blue.
Yeah.
So Red Hand Band. To be fair, Glastonbury, you'll often find that pretty much another stage are opening with bands that are like some sort of sea shanty thing from the coast or whatever. So it's like, yeah. Or so, like, well, my stepsister is actually a ballet dancer, and she opened the Pyramid stage one year.
Wow.
Yeah, the year Metallica played. No, Metallica played. Maybe not. Either way, she opened the Pyramid stage. One of the years that I wasn't there, but that's pretty sick. Who else, Harry? Talk us through it.
Well, Martha Wainwright I've heard of. Don't know loads
I
about.
can't say much about it. Yeah.
Brendan Benson was Jack White's mate.
That's right, absolutely. From the
Raconteurs.
Raconteurs.
Yeah. 13 Senses.
That sounds like a landfill indie name, doesn't it? Yeah. Is this,
I remember the name, but I don't know the music.
Mm.
Ambulance Limited.
Brackets, replaced cake.
Sounds like brass.
I mean, replacing cake with an ambulance, you know.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a fake one. It's like, the Leeds festival lineup. They used to put Frank Lampard in there for a laugh because one of them was a Chelsea fan. So if you look at
this rings a bell, yeah, like the Carling stage or whatever. Yeah.
They'd be on the poster. Like we used to think it was an actual band, but Wax. I mean,
class.
Playing that early on seems a bit weird, but
yeah, I think in middle of the day on the other stage doesn't work. Surely that deserves to be in a tent. That's really like weird booking that.
Post headliner stuff, innit? You'd thought.
Yeah, or in the dance village or something. But yeah, the Deers. Again, a name I know, but what do you reckon?
I've not heard of them. You?
I haven't.
No.
Bravery.
Hello.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Knock knock.
Yeah, I mean at least 2 great songs. I don't really know. Probably need to revisit that album, to be fair.
It's a good shout, actually. There's 2 pretty big choruses there.
Yeah,
and
people
would have aged well, though. Do you think?
Those 2 songs?
Just in general, yeah, the whole sound.
Well, I tell you what, looking at the photo you posted the other day, the Bravery, I didn't realise it was. I was looking at the tag of it. He looks about 40 years old, that geezer, in that photo. You know what I mean?
Even as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, yeah. He seemed...
Do you know he wrote, bit of a segue, he wrote a massive pop song, and it's a bit of a shit story because I don't know which one it is.
It's the level of attention to detail that you'll only get on this podcast.
Well, that's one for the research.
Are we going to have to edit it in again, Harry, like last time?
Yeah,
For
I know.
fuck's sake, fine.
But
riding the wave off the Killers. There was that rivalry with the Killers that they both seemed to sort of like try and recreate Blair Oasis. Okay. It seemed at the time. It felt like Enemy.
Well, I think Enemy pitted them against each other. I think they're just 2 bands that existed in the similar era that weren't worlds apart.
It was like synths, wasn't it? It was that vibe, adding that to the guitar sound. I think there was drawing references there, I think.
Yeah, I remember like Eddie Argos said that, that was a thing at the time, the Bravery and the Killers. And he went up, he had like a bit of an ongoing gag where he'd walk up to the Bravery. He'd be like, oh, you're the Killers. And he'd be like, oh no, Bravery's like, oh, it's just an honest mistake. A bit of a laboured gag.
Would you like to hear a funny Eddie Argos story?
Go on, yeah.
So I used to work on the Heathrow Express train, the fast train from Paddington to Heathrow. It takes only 15 minutes.
I saw that thing about Bombay Bicycle.
Well, you don't know the half of it, Harry, honestly. Yeah. So I used to meet a lot of famous people in that job, day to day, coming through the airport. And then one day I was getting on the train from Paddington into work, and there's a geezer sat in front of me on the train, and it was Eddie Argos. And I thought, Eddie Argos is there. I had my headphones in. I wasn't feeling particularly chatty, believe it or not. And didn't introduce myself. But went on his Twitter. I sort of wonder what he's up to nowadays. And sort of went on his Twitter, and so how's it Berlin now? Oh, it's mad. I'm not following. I'll give him a follow. Give him a follow. Put the phone in my pocket. I thought, a bit weird. He's sat in front of me. Felt really weird. Sort of, and then he's got his phone out and probably opened Twitter. And he's seen new follower. Clicked on it and seen William Han. And at the time, my sort of bio thing, whatever would say, a pest to all celebrities travelling through Heathrow. And he's looking at his phone. He's looking at me. He's
actually looking at you.
Literally. Really? A 15-minute journey has never felt so long in my life. Just like, why the fuck did I do that? And like, the normal thing to do would be to introduce. I go, oh, it's Eddie, right? Oh, good to meet you. I'm not, a big fan of the band, whatever. But I didn't have it in me that day for whatever reason. It was really awkward, man. It was pretty difficult. But either way, we're not looking at them. So let's have a look. We've got Rufus Wainwright. Is that Martha's relative?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
They're in a band together, weren't they, at some point?
That must be a serious power dynamic there. So Martha Wainwright, pretty much bottom of the bill. Rufus Wainwright, third from last. Aye. I mean, all siblings are pretty competitive, but that is toxic, right?
Were they in a band, Willa?
It doesn't ring a bell, to be honest. No, I don't know. The Wainwrights, no, I don't know.
I think the parents might have been musicians as well, but anyway.
I think they're right poshos, isn't they? That sounds about right.
Is it like Luden Wainwright or something? Am I getting that mixed up? The dad. Yeah.
Ah, right,
Okay. And who's after Harry?
The Lars, yeah. Like, did the Lars just release one album?
Believe it's one album. What an album, though. They've got a song, I don't know if you know it, actually. Really popular song. How's it go? I'm joking. But no, this particular iteration of the Lars, it was like, I don't know if they had a standing up drummer at that point, and it wasn't the original lineup at all.
Oh, right.
It was,
so what was the vibe? It was like a reunion thing, or they were just like hammering that first album?
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
And I think a lot of, like, much like the Bravery show, I'm guessing, a lot of people sat in a field waiting for one song, really.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then you have the opposite of that, where Ian Brown headlines the Sunday. So have you guys seen this footage before?
Not sure. Yeah, did he have a bit of a mare?
I mean, yes and no. It's kind of mad. So this is a really iconic legendary performance where Ian didn't play any Stone Roses stuff for like a decade. After Stone Roses split, he wanted to do just his own stuff. And he didn't play any Roses stuff until he thought he'd established himself enough as a solo artist. So imagine, Sunday at Glastonbury, opened with 4 Stone Roses songs, having never played any of them for a decade. Does he play them? Does he sing them well? It doesn't matter. It's not important. Like, it literally doesn't matter. He stood being so iconic that day, wearing the most ridiculous pair of sunglasses. The bass line, So I Want to Be Adored, goes on for, I'm not exaggerating, about 3 minutes before anyone else does anything. He's just sat at the front with a tambourine, shaking it, and no one else in the band joins in for what feels like a lifetime, and it's still not long enough. It could go on forever, you know what I mean? The crowd just can't believe they're hearing I Want to Be Adored. Yeah. It's well worth your time, I'd say. The rest of the set gets a bit less interesting, but those first 3-4 songs are like well worth 10 to 15 minutes of your time.
Fair play. I was talking about him recently because he did that mad thing after COVID, wasn't it? Where he just went on tour with just the backing track.
How's that sit with you?
I mean, fair play. I almost think like fair play to him. I won't be particularly pleased if I paid to watch it, but
I think it got a bit unfairly criticised for that. I think because most of his solo stuff isn't, 4 guys with guitars, drums and bass. Yeah. So it'd be a bit ingenuous to, I don't know, have 4 guys with guitars and a bass. It's like, it's quite synth-led and a bit more dancey and stuff in places. So like, I don't know. I think he got a lot of shit for that, which is a bit undeserved. It's like hip-hop acts would do that. Have a DJ behind him, or even like a guy side of stage, just triggering stuff off Ableton or whatever. So, I don't know. If people were expecting to see the Stone Roses and got that, I'd understand it. You're paying to see Ian Brown. The rest of it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, fair enough. I don't know a great deal about his solo work, to be fair, but
I'm saying myself like a real expert. I'm not really. I've only heard one of his solo albums, but
more into his conspiracy theories, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm far more interested in the fucking in the madness than I am with the music. But yeah, but it's a really good performance. That well worth your time. We could be here all day, but she plays through some of the acts on the John Peel stage quickly. I mean, this really is getting pretty fucking 22 grand pod here, isn't it? Look at this.
I mean,
woof.
Be your own pet.
What a band.
Yeah. You went to go see them, didn't you? Bunked
that year, I think, 2005.
off school to go see them, didn't you? I think. No. I thought you did. And Mr. Taylor said you're off to go watch Bring Your Own Pet.
Don't think we bunked off school, but we did. Went to see him in Leeds, and like just a classic thing of not having a way back, so we just ended up staying in the train station. And we had a marker pen up. For some reason, we took a marker pen with us to like gigs, to like write stuff, like write my band's name on the wall. Pathetic.
Yeah, I can relate to this.
But like to get in, you have to have like a stamp on your arm to like the over 18s Indie night. So that came in handy for that. Anyway,
I mean, looking at this, how many of these people have been on your podcast, Harry? I'm seeing quite a few familiar names there.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, Maxima Park, but Lucas on.
You've had the Rakes, 22 grand pod, of course.
Saturday's looking.
Subway, you should have the Subway's in your podcast, haven't you?
Yeah, I had Charlotte on.
Yeah.
Go Team had Ian on.
What's really funny looking at this though, so Sunday, Ryan Adams, brackets cancelled.
Nice.
So I don't know if that's a case of his performance was cancelled or the abusing women thing. He's cancelled nowadays. He's a cancelled artist. So that brackets cancelled is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's quite funny to be fair.
That is quite funny.
Not funny for the victim.
Oh God, no, there's nothing funny about sexual assault, but he is an awful person and is cancelled both literally and metaphorically at Glastonbury 05.
You're doing a tour right now. isn't he, in London?
He's doing Hammersmith Apollo, apparently.
Yeah.
I'd be really curious to see how that sells, in all honesty. It'd be one thing, like even like Tom Main's touring nowadays, but he's playing to no one at like 100 packs venues. To come from America to the UK and expect to sell Hammersmith, I can't see it happening. I can't see it coming through. That's getting cancelled.
Fair play.
Again.
That Hardfire one's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, I remember this happening. So like the 07, no, was it 07? Yeah, 07 NME roundup of Glastonbury. They're talking about how great it was that Richard Archer got to come back and play Glastonbury after not being able to do it in 2005.
Right,
it was really sweet. His mum died just before we got on stage, but he had to cancel the performance.
Really?
Yeah, it's really... Yeah, really shit. So they got rebooked for 2007, and like that must have been a pretty incredible feeling, having to miss out on that in 2005, going all the way up to Glastonbury, the biggest moment of your career, having your mum die, not do it, but then luckily getting to do it again in 2007. It's a real sort of like triumph for him. You know what I mean?
Nah, yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah, I'm not a big Hardfire fan, but you know, I'm not made of stone. It's fucking, it's nice, isn't it?
They played like a tour recently, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how are they doing? Was it Bricks and Academy level stuff or?
Seems to be quite healthy. I don't know. But
I don't know. So yeah, but I mean, is there more to cover here? Looking at the John Peel stage, I think that's any particular mentions or any surprises?
I mean, Go Team headlining is interesting.
That is interesting, actually. Yeah,
they are eclectic band. Good to see. But yeah, Subway's interesting as well because they got cancelled off another stage. I read earlier.
That rings a bell. They were supposed to be in the Pyramid, the other stage or something, weren't they?
The other stage, sorry.
But due to the significant downpour, relegated to Saturday on the John Peel stage.
But yeah, and the Tears as well. Can't say I won't know much about them.
No.
But I mean, what's it like at Glastonbury? Can you actually go see people you want to see? Like,
no,
you have to be quite selective.
No, you can't. It's like everything is hard work at Glastonbury, but it's like a hard work to reward ratio. Like you are rewarded for your hard work. It's just glory and joy and unexpectedness, and you know, sometimes big sacrifices that got to be made. You think like, right, so Sunday, I really want to watch LCD Sound System, for example, on the John Peel stage here. But they clash with, let's have a look. So they clash with The Bravery. Now, all my mates want to watch The Bravery, but I really want to watch LCD. Do I sacrifice LCD just to stay with my mates? Because I might not get to see them again. You know what I mean? Especially in 2005, before mobile phones were really any good. Well, but yeah, even in 2008, once you lost your mates, you'd pretty much lost them. It's a lot easier finding mates now with the quality of like phones and stuff. But yeah, you have to ask those questions. How much do I want to watch LCD? Will I watch them on my own or not? You know,
bands over banter.
There it is. Bands.
New podcast.
What's more important, bands or banter? You know, these are the questions you've got to ask every sort of 90 minutes at Glastonbury.
But going back to the other one, like the standout there for me is the Art Brute followed by the Rakes. That'd be right. A couple of bands to see, and the Departure. To be fair,
yeah, I don't know much about the Departure. What's their vibe?
Yeah, he's been on the pod. Max, is that right? I think it's Max. But he's they've got a mad story. They were like signed instantly, almost.
Seems to be a reoccurring theme for most of your guests in the podcast, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, like, but that was ridiculous, I think. But now he's really taken got on the TikTok vibe.
Interesting.
But
I think the overwhelming theme of this is indie bands, right? Glastonbury 05. It's nothing but indie bands for the most part on the three main stages here.
Yeah.
But then we look at Glastonbury 2025, and to say it's a bit more diverse would be an understatement, wouldn't it, really?
Well, it's a shit mix, yeah. No, it's eclectic to say the least. Yeah.
But it's changed from being a festival built on guitar music or whatever to being a festival that is literally for everyone. The idea is there's something for everyone at Glastonbury now.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of a beautiful thing. It shouldn't just be for a festival that big, shouldn't be just for white guys that like guitar music.
No, I mean, I thought it was quite funny, the whole Noel Gallagher versus Jay-Z thing.
Well, this is it. I mean, but in my mind, I remember thinking at the time it's a bit of an exaggeration. I was excited about Jay-Z. But then you look at Glastonbury 05, and then if you were to put Jay-Z headline in that, you think it's so jarring, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you look back with this much of a perspective, you go, right, I can see why it was such a shocking choice.
I really wanted Oasis to headline just so I didn't have to go see him.
We all did, really.
So I could watch it on TV.
That is the level of dedication on 22 grand pod.
Well, not my era, is it? So that's all right.
You're not going this year?
See Oasis? I just refused to get involved with that price.
Adam, what are you saying?
No, not particularly.
Well, on that note, this has been this album. I have been William Hand. He's been Adam and he's been Harry. And we will see you. These guys aren't fucking going anywhere, but I will see you on Worthy Farm this year. I cannot wait.
You can do some podding from there.
We'll discuss this offline. Thank you very much. This has been this album.